Good evening, everyone out there in TV and radio land. That is via YouTube and Facebook. Welcome to the Ashford Garley live show right here on Bridge Radio Africa. My name is Volcano Shelton, the co-host of the program this evening with you here in studios. It's a wonderful evening. Today is International Women Day. And imagine I am surrounded by three wonderful Liberian women who will be in studio with me very shortly. But I just want to say welcome to all of you, our viewers all over the world, wherever you are. We say welcome to Ashford Garley Live here on Bridge Radio Africa. I'm very, very elated to have these wonderful women in my company tonight. Discussion is going to be very, very important. We're going to be looking at a strand of things from social justice to women empowerment, women entrepreneurship, women advancement, women achievements, and especially for Liberian women who are making some remarkable advancements in the international community. So tonight I want to welcome all of you, our viewers, wherever you are. Welcome to the program. It's going to be a wonderful discussion tonight. I want to welcome Weirdo, Saba, Richard Saba, and Marion Sandy. Today is dedicated to all the women of the world, but particularly the Liberian women, and Bridge Radio Africa and TV. Just want to say we dedicate this to all of you wonderful women tonight. Tonight's show is for you, for being a better half to men. I know I'm going to get in trouble for but yeah, you guys are the better half to men, and also for your loving and nurturing soul. Who could better do it? The woman takes care of the children, the woman takes care of the home. The woman is just nurturing, just wonderful, for caring, for showing concern, for being loving, and all of that. And we stand with you tonight here at Bridge Radio Africa and TV, just to say congratulations on Women International Day, wherever you are. Just know that we're here in solidarity with you. And we want you to invite a friend, share the video, share the link, invite all of the women in your household, your mothers, your sisters, your wives, your girlfriends, fiance, however you want to put it. We want to ask you to just share the link, continue to invite more women, because tonight I have three important women, as I said, coming out of Liberia, and they will make a remarkable, impression on you tonight. So welcome to the show. Ashford, wherever you are, we say good evening to you, my brother. Hang in there. I know you're working behind the scenes to get this stuff going, and sooner or later you'll be back. But in the meantime, we're holding down the fort, and I'm hoping that tonight's discussion will do a lot enlightenment for women empowerment, women entrepreneurship, as I said, women authorship, just the whole 9 yards regarding women. And so again, welcome. We want to quickly run over to Liberia and thank Top FM in Zwedru, Grangita County, 105.3 for carrying our broadcast. We also want to say thank you to Joy FM 101.5 and to that of Live FM 104.1. The Ashford Garley live show comes on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time here in the U.S. on the East Coast, and that of 1 a.m. for those countries in the GMT zone. I know sometimes it's difficult to get guests from overseas, especially two of our guests tonight. One is all the way from Kenya. That's in East Africa. And I believe accordingly is about 4 o'clock in the morning. And so imagine someone staying up all night just to be here with us at Bridge Radio Africa. And so that's why we are very, very, very grateful that she could, find time to be with us tonight. And also the other guest is coming all the way from Liberia. Again, it's 1 a.m. in Liberia, put out 105 now. And then our last person is here. She's no stranger to you guys. In the meantime, I'm looking backstage. I think they're trying to get themselves together, but I would like to bring in my in America guest, and I will say she's a partner with me right now. We were discussing other things the last time, but tonight, because of Women's, International Day, she has chosen to join us on the discussion here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together and welcome the legendary journalist, female journalist, um, a renowned Liberian woman, former commissioner of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, Massa, Washington. People have been asking about you, Massa. They were wondering where you've been at. I'm like, okay, Massa will be back soon. She had to take a break. Welcome to the show, Massa. Good evening. It's good to have you here.
Good evening, Volcano. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be on your show as usual, but I'm even more elated to be on the show tonight because it promises to be a great show. And happy International Women's Day to all the women of the world, especially the Liberian women. Um, you know, you can't get it anywhere like the Liberian woman. So I would like to say a shout out to our sisters up there. Thank you for all you do for Liberia. Thank you for all you do for your families, for the communities, for the country. And of course, thank you for, giving Liberia a stand on the international stage. Liberian women are bringing down that glass ceiling, and they're just fantastic and phenomenal women, and I'm very happy that we will have with us tonight two of such fantastic and phenomenal Liberian women. So thank you very much. I'm glad to be on this show, and I look forward to a fantastic evening.
Well, yeah, actually, it's good to have you in studio with us tonight. I just want to quickly recognize some of our viewers here tonight. Raymond S. Clark, Aliyu Kamara, Don Gerald Newman. Some people are very concerned now about Ashford disappearance. They're thinking that I've kidnapped him and keeping him in my basement. No, Ashford is doing extremely well, but he's coming. He's coming. So you guys don't worry about it. We're gonna go at another level. So that's the hope here. Don Gerald Newman, Sakor Dane, Ambassador Randall Kudu Akwe, welcome to the show tonight. Sylvester Doe, Patrick Johnson, Raphael Silva, Marion K. Johnson, Smith Dewey, Born to Win, Nabai Massaquay, and the rest of the crew here tonight. Welcome to Bridge Radio Africa. Massa, just give a gist of what you think we're going to be talking about tonight.
Okay, we are basically we will be touching on a lot of issues and subjects concerning women because, as you stated, and as everybody knows, today is International Women's Day. But specifically, we have narrowed it more specifically so that we can do justice to Liberian women. And so we will specifically be looking at the International Women of Courage Award that women of the world have received or continue to receive in recognition of the work they have been doing around the world for women to promote women empowerment. And so we will be looking at the International Women of Courage Award. We will be talking to somebody who is the latest 2021 recipient of that award, happens to be a Liberian.
And I heard you won that award.
Yeah, I was the first Liberian woman to win that award. It was actually in 2009. I was the first Liberian to win that award. The award was introduced in 2007 by former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice, and she introduced that award to recognize women globally for the work they were doing in pushing women empowerment and in advocating for women's dignity, women's equality, and women's advancement. And so she introduced that. So that award has become a stable noun, and it's a huge award. And I'm
And you're
glad.
right. I was looking at some of the recipients. It's very global, all over the
Yeah,
world.
it's global
Hundreds
all
of
over the
women
world.
have won the award. It's not just
Yeah,
table to one part of the world. It's across all continents and
yeah,
countries.
it's a global award, and I'm glad that Liberian women. This is the second time that a Liberian woman is winning that award. Like I stated, I was the first Liberian woman to win that award in March of 2009, and last week Monday, when they announced recipients of the award again, we have the second Liberian woman, Miss Facia Harris, who has won that coveted award. So I'm really excited that this award is not staying with Massa Washington. It's gone on to Facia. Hopefully, it will continue to go on to other Liberian women so deserving. And then also, Liberian women are taking authorship to a whole new level. Just lately, we have some Liberian women who have come out to write, projects, books. And tonight we are very lucky actually to have Korto Reeves, a distinguished Liberian woman, someone who we have a lot of respect for and a lot of admiration for because we know her work. We have known her for a long time, and Korto is uncompromising when it comes to women's empowerment, gender equality. She's a feminist. She is unapologetic about it. She's an expert in the field. She's worked in the field for so many years. She's educated in the field, and she just authored a book, Inappropriate Medley. And this is a book of it's a compilation of poetry touching on different subjects of society. And we are really excited. The book is getting a lot of rave reviews, and we are excited to have Koto with us. We appreciate that despite the time difference, she's all the way in Kenya, but she stayed up to be a part of this program to honor the Liberian women for this International Women's Day. So we are
All right.
excited for Koto and
Okay.
excited to hear from Facia as well.
Thank you. Thank you. So before I bring in our next guest, I just like to go through her brief biography here. Facia Harris. She says she's both crew and Pele. I saw something somewhere. I was spying on her, researching, but not spying in the context of spying, but researching. Is an experienced journalist with focus on reporting on human rights issues, particularly women and girls. She most recently worked with the United Nations mission in Liberia, the radio station precisely. She is a full and active member of the Press Union of Liberia and the Female Journalists Association of Liberia. She has over 15 years practical experience working as a volunteer on gender issues with the Paramount Young Women Initiative, working with young people, communities through advocacy, planning, implementing educational programs. Facia Harris is a Liberian or African feminist and humanist. She is a public servant, currently working as director for outreach and sensitization at the Independent Information Commission in Liberia. She is a feminist activist for women's rights, gender equality, and social justice, who envisioned an equal space for women leadership. In 2005, she co-founded, along with five young women, a progressive young women's focused organization in Liberia that seeks to promote young women education and empowerment, and since have joined a number of other related organizations and network. She is a member of the African Women Leaders Network and a member of the steering committee of the Liberian Women Leaders Network. She serves as the vice president for the State Exchange Alumni Association, the umbrella organization for the United States Exchange Programs Fellows in Liberia. Facia is a founding member of the We Are Unprotected campaign. The We Are Unprotected campaign rose as a response to the More Than Me Unprotected report released by ProPublica and Time magazine on Thursday, October 11th in 2018, which detailed the rape and horrific sexual abuse that occurred at More Than Me Academy in Monrovia, Liberia. And I know a lot of people remember that story. Facia holds a master's degree in public administration with emphasis in public sector management from the Cotton University College. Um, Bachelor of Arts in Sociology from African Methodist Episcopal University, and a second year law student at the Louis Arthur Graham's School of Law, University of Liberia. She believes that people are different and those differences must be acknowledged and respected, given every person equal opportunity and space to exist. Out of the intergenerational partnership, she is a servant leader, an influencer. She's inspired by the many works of women who fought for the liberation of other women and marginalized minority groups. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Facia Harris to Bridge Radio Africa Ashford Garley Live. Good evening, welcome. You look like you're about to go back to bed. But with that kind of biography, I don't think, or you should be sleeping. You should still be awake.
Good
Welcome.
evening, good evening, Volcano, and good evening, Madam Washington, and all of the many viewers and listeners. Thank you for having me. I hope I can stay up.
You will be. You will be. Massa just let the cat out of the bag. You are currently the latest recipient of the Women of Courage Award, something put together by the U.S. State Department. Um, and currently, you represent Liberia. Tell us a little bit about this award and how did it come about, and how do you feel right now? Because I saw some of your posting. You said this is unbelievable, but I need you to tell the people.
Well, the recognition as one of the Women of Courage Award for 2021 actually was a surprise, and it's good that it's appreciated, right? That our work can be recognized. This is something that like I wrote, is owned by the women and girls of Liberia, so it's recognizing all of our work. There's no way they can name the over 1 million women. So the fact that they decided to uh, pick on Liberia to recognize all of our struggles um, against injustices for women's rights, that is welcome and appreciated. So it came as a surprise, but again, it tells us that the women of Liberia are working, and they continue to um, make the issues visible and continue to engage the system that is supposed to work for everyone in a fair, honest, and transparent way.
Do you see that now happening in Liberia with everything that's happening? Do you feel confident that things have improved or are improving for Liberian women?
Well, we can speak to that from different lens. And from where I sit, just going back to my childhood and looking around, hearing the stories of the struggle of women, we can
Could
say
you
that
just come to your
the
right just a little bit? Just come to your right a little bit. Good. Thank you so much. You're right
the
there.
women of Liberia have come a very, very long way. They've gone through many struggles. They've won many battles. So, in different ways, we can say a lot has improved for women, given the history of our country, how um, Liberia is a very, very patriarchal nation. So, you also already know that it took a lot for women to even have the space that they have today and to have the voice that they have today. So, we've come a long way. A lot has happened, yet we still have a lot more to do in terms of the true realization of women equal rights in Liberia. So yes, we've made significant progress. Our mothers, our grandmothers, the warriors before us, I always call them, uh, laid a foundation that we are humble to stand on. And there are a lot of examples of strong Liberian women who have been there in the trenches, right? Fighting for the freedom that some of us do now enjoy, and that privilege to say that we too can say we want to continue working and leave that same kind of foundation for the generation after us. So a lot has happened. We are not there yet, 100%, but I can say that Liberian women do um, have a space that they can continue to push for equality. They can continue to push for the rights. Yet, we still have a far way to go in the total recognition of these rights and the, allowance into these spaces that we should occupy equally as men and women.
Just before I come to Massa quickly, winning an award of this magnitude is elating, puts you out there on the international scene. And that should give you some kind of ammunition to utilize this award in a positive way. When you think about this award, what do you think you're going to do with this award in terms of utilizing it in a positive way to impact women empowerment, women entrepreneurship, women advancement, and not just the women, but the girl child and all of that? How do you intend to use this award, influencing, nationally and internationally?
Well, I and what I get, a little jittery when I hear award. You won an award. Well, that's the recognition is good. But this, should be used for the purpose, right? And again, I would state that what we do is not in the space that we are in. International recognition, yes, important, but also the realities on the ground are real. So we got to live and fight the issues that we have in Liberia, and it's something that we remain committed to. So to say the least is that it just, a recognition that I don't know how to turn that is there, right? It's appreciated, and it just maybe gonna be used again in a way to just encourage, the many young people, women, that we all work together to say let's stick to our fight, not because we want to win an award, but just to say that we are making strides. We are fighting a cause that is very, very important, and it's very relevant, it's very necessary for our time. And also to just say that the courage that Liberian women have is unmatched. I'm so happy that Sis Korto is going to be on the panel. This is one of the women that inspires me. So our courage, our strength is unmatched, or else the many things that the women of Liberia experience wouldn't be here still. In championing the cause for social justice and for women's rights. So this is a platform. It's for me, it's a recognition, and that should be appreciated. But it doesn't in any way put you ahead of any other woman or any other girl that is in the vanguard for equal rights, for women's rights, for justice, and the women that will organize in her community and not be recognized. Her work is very, very critical to the fight for this in equality. So we are all recognized as Liberian women. I want to term it as that, and that's what I believe it is. Our work, our effort, our struggle is being recognized, and it's saying to us that we're pushing you on, continue to be able to stand up, continue to be conscious about the system, continue to be deliberate about speaking, against injustices and for, women's rights and for equality.
Thank you, thank you, Massa. You won the award back in 2009. You said, um, what do you what back then? I know we're emerging out of the Civil War, or we've just emerged out of the Civil War, and Ellen Johnson Sirleaf has taken her first term. At that time, were you on the Truth and Reconciliation Commission when you
Yes,
won the award?
yes, I was.
And how did that award catapult your stature as a commissioner? And here you are winning such a prestigious award.
Well, actually, before the award was presented by Ambassador Linda Thomas Greenfield the United States ambassador accredited to Liberia at the time. And when I was selected for the award, of course, like Facia has said, it came as a complete surprise. And it was a shocker because I was on the TRC and my work on the TRC was not over. I was still working. But I was the gender commissioner. I headed the gender committee on the TRC. But the award basically was paying homage to the work I had done previously before coming on the TRC. I worked with women extensively during the war years. As a journalist, female journalist, I cover various issues and topics, but then I streamlined it to women specifically. I was concerned about what was happening with women. I was privileged to have been in different parts of the country at the time, working as a journalist, and I saw what women were going through, the abuses that were taking place against women, the marginalization. Um, and I started writing stories on women. And, I was one of those who was trying to record the experiences of women. I made sure that women had a voice at the newspaper where I worked. And it was interesting because at the time, I was the only female in the newsroom where I worked. It was all males. And it was very important for the women voices to be heard. And those who could speak out, it was important to enable them to continue to speak out. And I was active with the Liberian Women Initiative, and we did a lot of peace lobbying, and I attended a lot of the peace conferences in the sub-region, representing the women. As sometimes I wore several hats. I played dual role. Sometimes I attended peace conferences as a journalist slash woman of Liberia. So what happened is that every time I worked, I reminded myself that I was a woman first. I reminded myself that I was a Liberian woman first. And when you're working, you don't think about getting an award. It's far from your conscience. You're just doing the right thing. You're just doing what needs to be done at that time. You just want to do your best. You want to help other people realize their full potential. You want to call attention to tricky issues of the times. You just want to give your best as a conscientious and patriotic citizen. And then, of course, women have always been at the bottom of the ladder forever and ever historically in Liberia. But then with what happened in the war, the massive abuse against women, all sort of abuses took place against women. And all of a sudden, women were finding their voices more than any other time in post-war Liberia. And so it was good that some of us were privileged. Actually, I called it being privileged to have been around, to have been a part of that process of helping women post-war get the voice, and to be able to use it in appropriate ways that benefited and still continues to benefit women. We saw Liberia produce the first female elected president. We saw Liberian women continue to make strides. It was because of the work that all women were doing collectively. And I'll tell you, the last 20 years, I think, has been a renaissance for women voices in Liberia. Women have been very vocal in what they want to see of the country, what they want to see happen to improve the country, and their place at the table. Women have been more vocal than any other time in our history. And it is because women have had enough. The Liberian women have had enough. And we have said, you know what, we need to close rank, we need to work together, and we need to make sure that this new freedom that we found, where we can insist that our voices be heard, we hold on to it because some people pay dearly. I remember we had one of our market women from the Liberian Women Initiated, Noah Flomo, who was actually abducted from her home in broad daylight and disappeared and killed by fighters because she was one of the women who was advocating for peace, for the end to war, and for women voices to be heard. You had the Female Lawyers Association that organized themselves to assist the women with those legal issues that tended to impede the progress of women. Then you have political parties, women coming together, organizing themselves. Then you have media women coming together, organizing themselves. So all of a sudden, you had women from all spheres of life realizing that, hey, we can do this. We have a voice and we are going to be heard. So this past 25 years has been a pure renaissance for how far Liberian women can push it.
Thank you so much. And just to go on down the list, if we were to call some of the renowned Liberian women who are making, enormous advancement on the global scene, one of them is uh, Secretary General from the United Nations appointed Madam Sarah Beslow Yanati, as from Liberia as the UN resident coordinator in Nepal. That's an achievement. I believe she's the first to ascend to
Mhm.
that position. And then we have one of the another Liberian woman who won a seat in Colorado, Miss Rakes.
That's right.
So are there other women that you guys, Facia, we don't see Korto backstage yet, back in studio. I don't know what's happening out there in Kenya. I will hope that she will come on. Oh, thank goodness she's back. All right. Okay, so she's back. Before I go to her, let me just formally introduce her. Um, Bear with me just a second. Let me get back to that screen because I had her all in queue. And okay, so viewers, if you just joining us, we had the intermission. This is Ashford Garley Live here on Bridge Radio Africa. Um, we come your way Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 a.m. GMT. And I'm Volcano Shelton, the co-host tonight. I have three wonderful Liberian women, Miss Facia Boyena Harris, Korto Reeves, and Massa Washington. Korto Reeves is the global head of Women's Rights for ActionAid International, a social justice focused NGO, where she leads the women's rights portfolio across the organization. Her work and activism have taken her to several countries across Africa, the Middle East, and the Americas. As a survivor of the Liberian 14-year civil war, she uses her experience in creative writing and storytelling to call for visibility on social justice issues and to promote healing. She recently published a book of poetry titled Inappropriate Medley: Stories of the Patriarchy, Pleasure, and Redemption. Her other writing includes contributions to the Feminist Africa Journal, and her academic research on social change in Liberia influences movement building work within the woman and queer movements. Korto is one of the founders of the Liberia Feminist Forum. Korto has a bachelor's degree in English language and literature from Cotton University and a master's degree in sustainable development from the School for International Training. Our viewers, listeners, welcome to Madam Korto Reeves, all the way from, is it Nairobi or somewhere in Kenya?
I'm based in Nairobi.
Okay. Welcome. I know that it's got to be hard for you, and I want to, on behalf of the Bridge Radio management, say thank you so much for availing yourself. We've covered some grounds with Facia so far on her award, um, but tonight we're going to be talking about your literary work as an author and some of your activism. So let's start with Inappropriate Medley. What this is about?
Okay, so I'll start first by saying congratulations to Facia. Facia is a feminist activist, and we've worked together over the last what is it, 5 years? Close to a decade, in terms of following her work and actually being in the same space and sharing ideas for a better Liberia. So I want to recognize that. I also want to recognize Massa, for being that anchor, who has been there for women in both professional and personal ways. So I just want to say that before I talk about the book. So the book is called Inappropriate Medley. And the title comes from the fact that the work that women do and the things that women say, especially in the struggle for our rights, they are usually seen as a challenge to society. They're usually, words and actions that clash with the status quo. So this is a sort of sarcastic presentation of the work that we do. So for me, I'm using the art form of poetry, but it's really about, I am challenging the status quo by saying this may seem inappropriate to you, but it's a medley of all of the issues that we face as women. And based on that courage, we are, I'm putting it down, I'm putting it in art form for everyone to see. So exposure to the public. So the book looks at the intersection between patriarchy, pleasure, and redemption. And it is written within a continuum that looks at a timeline from the war. So war issues, and in fact, I start before the war because I actually start in 1977. For those who have read the book, you may know that. I start in 1977, and I go through the checkpoints, the physical checkpoints, but then I also bring on the fact that as much as we're not going through those checkpoints, those physical checkpoints that we experienced, for 14 years, we still have checkpoints. We still have hurdles that prevent women from achieving their rights, from realizing their rights. And there is active and ongoing work to, remove those checkpoints. So this is what Inappropriate Medley is about. It's about looking at that. Why do I say pleasure and redemption? I say pleasure and redemption because I realize that the sort of, it is going to be very important for people to understand the experiences. And I think this is something that Massa and Facia, would understand, and I'm sure you, Volcano, to understand what it meant for women. And I'm not saying, what is written in books or written in, high level reports, but what did it mean for a Liberian woman walking through the checkpoints and experiencing sexual violence that she had no control over, and she lived with the impact of that today. There's the residual impact in many different forms. That could be, your children. There's a story of a woman who says that almost every warring faction that went into her town, there was someone from those warring factions who raped her. So it's the children, it's the sort of social context that we have, around drugs, around, young people who don't have employable skills. They don't have the, opportunities to actually reach their full potential in the Liberian society. So those are the results of what happened at the checkpoints. And there are women who are just actually broken. They may not be children, they may not be, some of the things to think about, but who are broken in spirit because they have gone through that. So think about that for a moment and then compare it to the fact that women would have choices today, around who they have sexual relationships with, who they have other kinds of relationship with, how their movements are controlled, the access to different resources, including something as basic as food, So I'm saying that as you move through that checkpoint, we're going to reach to the place of redemption. And while we have not reached it yet, it is possible because we know what the past looks like and we know what the future is going to look like. So we will continue to fight as Liberian women. So that's what the book is about.
Some of the checkpoints you're talking about could be the intangibles, things that happen with the Liberian woman or women in general. Some of the stereotyping, some of the way men treat them. Could that be some of the checkpoints you're talking about?
Well, the checkpoint, for me, my framing comes from systemic, understanding of what has happened to the Liberian woman, over decades, over century. So it is about the systems that violate our rights. And as much as, you could individualize it and say, this is what happens, this is what men do to women in the Liberian society, I prefer to talk about it from the perspective of patriarchy. So who are the custodians of the system of patriarchy? That would be mainly men. However, it is a system. It's a system that normalizes the subjugation of women. It's a system that says women are supposed to be in a particular at a particular level. There are particular roles that they have to play, and it's not just Liberia. It's the whole idea of gender construction. Where based on our sex, we are expected to do certain things. But it's not just about that construction. It's also about power. So who gives, who feels, whatever into that system that makes it so powerful that women have to organize over decades to change the way the system affects different groups of people in our society. And even as we do that, we realize that it's very difficult, and I'm sure you all can agree with me. It's very difficult because people have been conditioned to understand that this is how women are supposed to be within our society. So it cuts across. There's education. If you look at education, it's a really good example. There's the issue of political participation, where today we say, President Sirleaf is the first woman elected as president in Liberia. But it's also important to note that it's not just Liberia, it's Africa. So are we saying that the women in Africa cannot vote or they don't have the qualities of leadership? No, all of these things are deeply embedded in the sort of systematic organization of the society in a way that puts women at a particular level. So those are the things that I talk about in the book, and the things that I, do. This is the work that I do on a day-to-day basis.
Thank you. If you just joined us, Bridge Radio Africa, the number to call is 404-272-2808. Again, 404-272-2808. It's right on the banner. So look at the banner and you'll see the number. Call to engage our guest. Today is International Women's Day. We're here at Bridge Radio paying homage to three Liberian women who have done extremely well to keep our country on the map. Facia Harris just won the Women of Courage Award. And I also Korto Reeves just published a book. If you look in the background behind me, Inappropriate Medley. And also Massa Washington, the former TRC commissioner, but also a recipient of the award that Facia just won. Now, ladies, let me just give you guys the opportunity to go across the room, talk to each other right there. You congratulated Facia. Facia, what about Korto that you really admired? And then Korto, tell me what you admire about Massa, and Massa, you tell me what you admire about the other two ladies. So let me just let you engage each other. Go ahead. Who want to start first? All right.
Well,
Facia looks like the youngest, so I'll give her the opportunity. Tell me what you like about your big sisters, and how have they inspired you?
Volcano, the thing with the international, how do you call it, Courage Women or Courage Award or whatever. Sorry, it's not the award; it's the recognition. So I think they have 4 or 5 women who are the actual awardees, and then they have recognitions across countries. So each country, the embassy recognize, one per country. So for our category is the recognition. So we are recognized. So I just wanted to make that.
Okay, so that's a clear distinction. So you've been
Yeah.
recognized. Okay, and then the award is okay. So let's put it quickly to the Academy Award. Like in a movie, they got nomination, but the winner itself. So an Academy Award nominee, an Academy Award nominee did not win the Academy, but he's a nominee. So he's in that category of the people who vie for the award. So you were one of the
Yeah,
people.
so I think they have the different embassies uh sending forth names, and then they had a
Okay.
general consensus as to who to be awarded, and then they have the um
The
those
actual
who they
winner.
recognize. Yes.
Okay.
So
All right.
all
So
right. So
thanks,
what do
Pedro.
I admire?
Just before you come in, people have been asking where we can find Inappropriate Medley. It's right on Amazon. Go on Amazon and you will find Inappropriate Medley. Type in Inappropriate Medley by Korto Reeves. Because when I was trying to research, I found Inappropriate Medley to be bands, to be music, to be the caption of so many things. So you got to be specific. For all of you who are trying to ask here tonight, how can you get this book? Inappropriate Medley is on Amazon. Go to Amazon Books and type in the caption or the book title and make sure you add in Korto Reeves. All right, Facia, come in. Let's just do that for
So
2 minutes.
all right. So growing up, I grew up in a home with my grandmother, and when I was born, her husband was already dead. So she was actually home alone with her children and her grandchildren growing up. So I saw her alone, and then my mother two have parted, before I could get to know myself, she had parted ways with my father. So in summary, I grew up around seeing, women in their strength. I may not have understood it the way I do now, but there was something special, about what I saw and how I appreciated this courage, that we put it resilience and the strength that is women have. Because mind you, you in a community, you will see other homes where there's a man and a woman, and then the woman is just standing there and the man is just working. But in my home,
It seems as though she's kind of freezing. One of you come in quick and let's rescue. Um, let's come back to Korto. Korto, what is it about Massa that you like or appreciate, and what inspiration has she put on you as a professional woman?
Okay, so I know Massa from way back, and I recognize Massa for her courage to be in spaces that are usually seen as spaces set aside for men. And the whole idea of being able to work in the sort of media industry in Liberia at the time that I knew that she was working there. I'm not sure, Massa, whether you were there before the war, but the work that you did after the war, I think it was very dangerous space, but it was also a space that was not seen as one for women. And even if a woman was in that space, she was sort of put in a place of how do you call it? She played a supportive role. So, how many women editors did you see? How many women who actually own the newspaper? So Massa was in a very competitive space that was dangerous because of the war and what the war, had sort of exposed our country to. So I recognize her for being, a part of that, and also, sort of becoming visible and being an example to many young women who just in seeing Massa doing it, they realize that, okay, this is an example that there are possibilities for us and we can enter this space and succeed. But she did not just stop there, so while everybody knew Massa as the journalist, Massa was able to join a group of men, there were other women on the commission to handle what I believe is one of the most sensitive tasks that people have been given in Liberia, Liberians have been given to say, let's look at the archive of the destruction of our country. Let's look at the pain of our people. Let's look at how Liberia can become better, after we have done that. And I think the role that Massa played on the commission is something that we should always be proud of. It's something that I was proud of. And most times, just from a personal side, when I see her talking and writing on Facebook, I'm like, this is a strong woman, and strong from the perspective of trauma, that exposure to trauma, all of the things that she has seen, about Liberia and heard, the work across, from Ghana to the southeast to, other parts of the country. And she's still standing and still saying, Liberia first.
Thank you.
Liberia first. So I
Thank
think this is why I admire Massa. I have a personal relationship with her that makes me to understand that her work is not just, like I am a commissioner or I am a journalist, but as a refugee in Ghana, when I needed a big sister and I needed somebody who would, be there for me and have my back, Massa really did not know me, to say, okay, this is my relative or this is my friend from college. She actually got into that gap and she stood there for me in a way that, I'll always remember. So today I celebrate Massa because I realized that she has been in the trenches. She has risen, up to a place of visibility and significance in our society for taking on that role of, a commissioner and being able to do it in a way that we will remember you for a long time, Massa. You are in the books, of her story that, we see you and we respect what you have done for Liberia.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Massa, you gotta hold on. Facia is back. Um, Facia, you already had, I think it was 1 minute of your time.
Oh
So
my God.
just try to wrap it up in 2 more minutes so we
All
can
right, so
go to
sorry, the
Massa.
network is
I know
tripping.
that LIB will take it.
Yeah. So I was just saying that I met Sis Cotto through her writing, and she was introduced to me through the newspapers. This day I took the newspaper and actually read an article from her, and she basically just tried to put into context um, our development issues in Liberia at the time. So, and I read the article and I just couldn't stop reading. I told my boss we had a program, seriously speaking, and said, Mr. Mesa, this article, you read this article, we have to invite this lady to talk about, what she wrote. I can't remember the title so, clearly now, but that's how I met Sis Cotto. I was able to see her. And that from that moment, I started to follow her and watch out for her until we got, much closer when we all when she invited, invitation or call for interest to join the Liberian Feminist Forum. And then we started the journey. So I got more closer to her to be able to learn some of her firebrand traits for women's rights and advocacy and just being deliberate, about the change that we want to see. Uh, she's spoken a whole lot about it in the system. And then for Madam Washington, her name was already out there as a former journalist. So you hear her name on the radio. And then I got closer a bit again when she actually took on the role at the TRC. So we were able from a distance to interact because I was in the media and then she was at the Truth and Reconciliation Commission rather. And now we've gotten a bit more closer through, as family, friend, bigger sister. So, but her role in the Liberian media is one that was very strong, even on the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. If you there were women on the commission who played, they all played significant role. But I think they at that particular time to serve on the commission needed a special kind of focus and strength and that she exuded at the time, and it keeps my admiration for her as well. So these are anytime I speak to you and I say the women of Liberia laid a strong foundation from us, we will go way back to Akoko and Nako Nepe, but then we have present day women, right? That we see and we living their own lived experiences in our lifetime. So we're not just reading about how much work the women of Liberia are making, towards the development of our country, the transformation of our country, and the fight for equality, the fight against injustices. But we have these women that are there to correct us. They are there to practice what they preach, as we all say, and they're there, they're walking, they talk. So it's a very good opportunity to be that close, in the spaces with them to learn, and just to have someone who got your back, you can run to. Many days I run to say Scotto, and with tears, and she will be able to really, really put you down and explain things to you, give you perspective, and allow you to have a open mind to think through different situations and know how to navigate
Thank
the
you.
uh, the
Thank you,
society.
Facia. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. If you're just joining us, this is Bridge Radio, Africa Bridge Radio TV. We're live here on YouTube and Facebook coming your way tonight. Today is the 8th of March, um, 2021. We started at 8 p.m. The program comes on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time and 1 a.m. GMT. And it's so important to have two of our guests here tonight, one from Liberia, one from Kenya, where they are very vast disparity in the time zone, but they've been able to sacrifice because it is their honor today. I mean, International Women's Day, that in itself it tells you that women are recognized all over the world today, and we're happy to have them here. The number to call is 404-272-2808. Someone say I don't see it on the banner. It's right there. 404-272-2808. Just to wish them International Women's Day. Don't come here to ask no political question. Just say, how you send birthday greetings. That's what we're asking you to call in and just, wish them happy International Women's Day. I want to also quickly thank uh, Top FM in Zwedru, Grangita County for carrying our broadcast, and that's 105.3 Top FM, Joy FM 101.5, and that of Live FM 104.1. If you just joining us, we say welcome to Ashford Garley Live here on Bridge Radio Africa, Bridge TV Africa, YouTube and Facebook. I'm Volcano Shelton, the co-host of the program. Massa, you have about 4 minutes, two for two for Korto and two for Facia.
Okay, so Facia, I will start with you because you're the baby sister on this forum. Yeah. Actually, to say that I'm excited that Facia, to see her grow to this level, and we can say, we're colleagues. We may have some age difference, but we are colleagues. And because I've known you, like you said, from a distance when I was actively practicing in the media, you were in school, you were in college. But I met you when I was on the TRC, and you were at All Mail Radio, you and McDonald Mesca and Agnes, and you would interview us. And you always love interviewing me because I didn't shy away from the issues. I'm not afraid to take the issues, even if I would get in trouble. I will speak truth to power. So they love interviewing me. But then I saw Facia from there, and she started from there, and then she started getting involved in women advocacy and the feminist movement. And here we are today. A point of correction though, Facia, do not overlook your award. The award is heavy. This is how the award goes. So it's an International Women of Courage Award. And every year, the State Department, through its embassies abroad in the different countries, asks the embassies in the different countries to send the names of nomination from those countries to the State Department. They have a committee, and then they finally select the final winner, and they have runner-up. But the thing about it is that at the end of the day, so you have one woman who becomes that International Woman of Courage, she wins that award. But then the rest of the women who were nominated from the various embassies, they become women of courage for those countries. So Facia, your title is Liberian Woman of Courage, and it's an award. Globally, internationally, it's a big recognition. but you are our woman of courage, and we salute you. Okay? Yeah. And so, Koto, you know now. You know you dearest to my heart. You know, we yell, we scream, whatsoever. I will love you forever. There is no, there is no way you cannot be a part of me. No way. I got to know Koto when I was trying to finish my coursework at LU. I should have graduated a long time, but the war delayed us. And I just had just only 2 courses to graduate when the war came. And I was doing my final English course, Shakespeare. And Koto was my classmate. And I love Shakespeare because I love, the literature and all of that. And so we did our course together, sharp as a wit. She has a natural flair for literature, a natural flair for words, and she writes well. So I got closer to her in the class, and we hit it off. We became friends. And then later on, she started doing some, editorial consultancy with the New Democrat newspaper, and then also proofreading the New Democrat newspaper and helping them edit the paper. And at that time, I was a journalist at the Inquirer newspaper. And then when the war came, we found ourselves across the border in the Ivory Coast, in Ghana. And so it was natural that Koto and I will, get close again because she was someone that I had already established, a relationship with, someone who I really love as a younger sister. And after the war, we came back trying to pick up the pieces of our lives. I found myself on the TRC. Koto went international, and she continued to bring down, that proverbial glass ceiling. Koto, I'm very proud of you. You always been smart as a wit. It was the first thing that drew me to you, your smartness. And then I thought that she was just ready. For some reason or another, I'm a woman who is not embarrassed or shy to appreciate other women beauty. I love beautiful people. I always thought that Koto was really pretty. I used to say that pretty girl, she had nice, thick African lips. People in America are using Botox to pump up their lips. Koto got it naturally. So I always thought she was really pretty. She had very nice hair. She changed her hair now, but she had nice hair. But she was just a pretty girl and then smart on top of it. So I'm like, she had an entire package. She was pretty, she was smart, and she was going places. And here we are today. Koto is an international or director of an international program. And I didn't see the feminist part of it. I saw her doing the feminist thing, but I didn't see it at that level. Maybe because I was so busy trying to pick up the pieces of my own life after the war, all of that. And then all of a sudden, I'm sitting on Facebook, and then I'm reading stuff, and then I'm traveling, and then I'm hearing Koto, the feminist, and then she would tell you. So I'm like, oh my gosh, she took it to the next level. Koto, thank you so much for just being that consistent, permanent voice for women. Uncompromising. One of the things I like about her is that she is uncompromising. She will say it as it is. She will stand her ground. And I can't get your email, your email name, Tati Yakwa, right?
Yes.
Tati Yakwa. Yeah. When I saw the Tati Yakwa the first time, I said, cinema, Tati Yakwa. You're such a flowery person all around. You just unapologetic. And then one time she was explaining a story about Sargon. And so I was like, Sargon? And I asked somebody, where is Sargon? They say she talking about Nukuta. So, all those things, Koto, is just endearing to you because the way you brought the stories, the way you talk about Nukuta and the slum and the experience and stuff, that is something that a lot of Liberians, people went to Nukuta every day. They visited Nukuta every day. I had an aunt who lived in Nukuta, voice holder. We used to go there as kids, spend time with her and stuff, but we never, we didn't know the names of the different community. We didn't see all the other different places until you started bringing it alive to us in this new dispensation. So I knew you were going to go places. It was always there. I appreciate you. And when I saw you, when you did this book, I said, oh no, we got to get on board. She cannot be alone. We have to promote this book. We have to make sure it's a bestseller. We have to do everything we can. Immediately, I got up. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get my copies. And I'm telling everybody now, if you have not bought your copy of Inappropriate Medley, I'm asking you to get a copy now. It's a collection of poetry that touches on different aspects of the society, but basically it looks at the issue of women and what's been happening to us and all of that. And it has some, just before I finish speaking, Korto, you have some very interesting topics for the poems. Let me just read one or two topics, and then you just tell us maybe just a little bit what was behind the topic or the theme. So here I wrote down one. All of them are my favorite, but I wrote three down. So there's one that says, "Your love is not mine." So when I saw that topic, immediately I started thinking about all kind of things, you know. And then the other one said, the colonizer. No, we the colonized. We the colonized. And then a letter to sister, subtitle, Vagina Dialogue. So what's behind the topics? You know, the language is bold, is different, you know, is unapologetic. Tell us what's behind, what's going on.
Okay, so I'll start from we the colonized, and it's really the poem is about a challenge to the way we frame our political history. So you always hear people say Liberia is one of the two African countries that wasn't colonized. And I challenged that because I realized that all of the tenets, you know, all of the elements of colonization happened in Liberia. And perhaps the difference is that there wasn't a direct relationship between the space that was called Liberia and a government. But we've seen over, you know, decades, and even if you go back into Liberian society, in terms of the relationship between the settlers, the people who were in Liberia when they arrived, the sort of evolution of our governance process, the control over resources for close to a century, that all of those things, if you compare that, say, for example, to a country like Kenya, I've been reading a lot on Kenyan history, about that, you know, the dynamics between the settlers and people who were in the country, and it's similar. So across, you know, the continent of Africa. So it's based on that I am basically saying that we should accept that we're colonized. So we the colonized. But I'm also stating in that poem that we cannot remain stagnant in terms of the impact of colonialism, and I'm saying that, you know, using that word in a way that I hope people understand. We cannot remain within that space where our country is not growing and we're not growing our relationships to benefit Liberia, that we must at some point in time forgive, acknowledge and forgive and move forward for Liberia. So you'll see that I spell out all of the different issues, but then in the end, I say one day, you know, we're going to stand together and say, you know, this is about Liberia. So people who consider themselves to be settlers across different, you know, times will be able to get together in unity for Liberia. So it is a political poem, and it's also, you know, reflects the challenges and the misunderstanding and what we consider to be our daily, you know, conversation on Facebook, like who did what happened this time, why can't we acknowledge that this happened, you know, all of those things. So that's it. I talk a lot about love in the book, and love in terms of, you know, relationship between people. And when I say your love is not mine, it's reflecting the challenges that women go through. You know, where in the Liberian society, the way that men are conditioned, and even women are conditioned, you know, in terms of sexual relationships, non-platonic relationships, it becomes difficult in terms of moving forward and, you know, feeling like you are accepted and loved, you know, by a particular person. So I am saying that women should be able to define. They should be able to define what they want, you know, in terms of relationship. And if it doesn't fit you, or you're not happy, or this is not what you want, you should be brave enough to say, as much as society expects me to be in a relationship, whether it's marriage or other kinds of relationship, we should be able to define what we want in those relationships. We have the power to do it. And when we don't have the power, this poem is supposed to provide inspiration. It is not just this poem, it's about the writings of Liberian women and other women. Yeah. So it's
And
really a feminist thing.
vagina
The
dialogue. Vagina dialogue, just very briefly. What's behind vagina dialogue?
vagina dialogue is a response to the vagina monologues. And for those who know, the vagina monologue was written by Eve Ensler, renowned playwright. She writes this play about violence against women, especially women in the global south. And the poem talks about different forms of violence, and she has used the poem to raise money to support women in the global south, especially in Africa, the DRC. So when I first got exposed to the poem, I felt like the poem was sort of depicting a picture that violence against women happened mainly in the global south, and that there wasn't any recognition or acceptance of what happens in the global north. So I'm saying that if we call ourselves feminists, if we call ourselves sisters, then it's important to be able to become realistic that some of the issues that I face as an African woman could be something that a woman in the global north faces. However, we cannot, how do you call it? We cannot take away the agenda that we have as African feminists, that agenda of decolonization and recognizing the impact that colonialism has had on the continent, and how we have to deal with that in many different ways, including the legal systems, the sort of social norms, gender norms around women. So this is what the poem is about. And I was very excited, when I sat down this morning around 4 o'clock, I went to my email, to my Facebook page, and I realized that a young Liberian woman, like a really phenomenal woman called Aliyah Brown. Aliyah Brown used the vagina dialogue. So she recites it, but she's also doing a dance about the vagina dialogue on a beach in Morovia. And she sent it to me this morning. She shared that with me this morning. And I'm like, this is so, on time, but this is the reason I'm writing a book, so that we're able to bring our stories to life in many different forms, and that it affects, it influences the young people to be able to stand and talk about what they want to see changed in the Liberian society. So this book is just, the entry to the conversation, and hopefully we can talk about it more, across generations.
Thank you so much. This is your day. That's why I'm sticking backstage, but I still got to do my part of the job tonight. I want to recognize Moses, Obadiah, Quinan, Sinyegai, Logan, Raymond Hoggard, Samuel Sakama, Marola Moore, Ibrahim Ma, Bill Cooper, watching all the way from Zwedru, Grand Jita County. Wow. Welcome to the show, my brother. Francine Chinowith Richardson, Jack Murch, Don Gerald Newman, Vidai, Donna Patrick Johnson, Ann Payne, all you wonderful folks, welcome tonight. Everyone is congratulating you guys here in studios with us, Massa, Facia, and Korto. But let's no one wants to call, and Lady Brooks Roberts just jumped in. No one wants to call because it's not political. So I'm going to throw a little politics in here tonight. And the reason for that is because it in fact affects you guys in profound ways. Are you satisfied with what trending in Liberia right now, with everything politically, socioeconomically? You've seen a lot happening. A young woman from the LRA died, and it was said it was carbon monoxide. We still, but rape cases in the country and all those things. You've been championing the cause of women. Um, what kind of message do you have for the Ministry of Gender? The Ministry of Justice, the Ministry of Health, because those are the ministries that should be, working in vanguard to project some kind of uh, justice for women in the country. I'll start with anyone who wants to go.
Well, I can start, and I think what when you say that people are not calling because it's not political, it is political. What we have been talking about before you ask this question is about people's rights. It's about the power that systems and the state has over us that we have
And
to
and and, and Carter, right after I said somebody called, let me just bring him in. Let me hear what he got to say, he or she. Hello, caller. Where you calling from? What's your name?
Emmanuel Jackson calling from Boston, Massachusetts.
All right, welcome to the show, Emmanuel. I have three wonderful women in the house. What do you
Yeah,
have to say, or a question, or a comment? What it is?
it would be a question. Congratulations to the women in the house, and thank God we have Liberian women who have stood up for women's rights through the years. My question would be: currently, we have a lot of Liberian women throughout the world, whether it be in Norway, in Australia, in the United States, that are doing extremely well, and we want someday to serve in government capacity to help with the situation of the psychological problems we have suffered as a result of the war. So, what would be their position on the issue of this dual citizenship? Because sometimes you look at it, you see a lot of men only discussing it. Now, I think it's also important that women get involved because coming through the future, you see a lot of high-profile Liberian women from abroad who will want to go in to help in some governmental capacity to help our women. So, what are the views? Any one of them can talk about it. What are the views and what are some of the pros and cons that we can benefit from women or education in the future to help in Liberia?
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. I think that's a very good question. Since Koto was in route, I'll just let her just jump on it. Forget about my question. Just go with his.
Okay, thank you, Emmanuel, for your question. When you said that, a lot of we've had this discussion or conversation with men. Yeah, I decided to look for what's her name? Raptel Pele. So Raptel Pele has written a book. It is a recent book, and it is a book that talks about citizenship. I am still looking for the book. Yeah, so it talks about citizenship, development. It's called Development, Dual Citizenship, and its Discontents in Africa, the Political Economy of Belonging to Liberia. So the reason I mentioned that is because one of the challenges we have around the conversation and who owns the conversation across, different issues in Liberia. Yes, clearly you will see the visibility of men, the talk shows, the different, panels and all of that, social media. And there is a reason for that. There is a reason for that. I remember when I worked in Liberia as the country director for ActionAid, I actually we did a study working with the Liberian Media Center where we looked at the way that women are presented in the media and the access that women have to the media. Like, when do you have, your programs? Who has control over the radio? Who has control over the, cell phone within the community? So there is a book that has been written by a young Liberian woman, Dr. Raptel Pele, that basically talks about exactly, this question that you're asking. So I'll stop there, in terms of saying that this book exists and it is written by a woman. So women are involved in the conversation. That's number one. Number two, I want to say that, and I'm speaking as an individual, it's personal, that I don't believe that citizenship, so not to be simplistic about it, but I believe that the development of Liberia is deeply connected to citizenship and the role of the diaspora. In if you are a citizen of Liberia, a natural born citizen of Liberia, I don't understand the sort of legal analysis that comes with, this person is no longer a citizen. So I believe that this is something that is on paper, it's something that is law, and law is not, it's something that can always be shifted. It's not, like stagnant. The law is made to be able to fit other parts of the society, especially within the context of development. So I believe that all Liberians are supposed to work to develop our country, people in the diaspora, women in Liberia, in other parts of the world. We are supposed to be a part of that. It is our right, the right to participate. So I think, I'll end there to just say that I believe that as a people working with our representative, it's important for us to understand that the work of the legislature is really about framing documents that will be pro-Liberia, framing documents that will support the development and the growth of our country. And I think that is one of the main issues that we talk about on citizenship. Why don't you have the investment that someone in the diaspora would want to make? Why wouldn't they do it? Why are they cautious? So those are some of the things that we need to discuss, and we discuss it all the time, except that we don't discuss it on the, sort of, mainstream media. This is something that we have discussed, how this is related to the economy. We've done papers and all of that. So I just want to stop and give Massa and Facia the chance to do it. But I believe that the law of our country is supposed to be pro-Liberia in terms of our growth and development. And one of the ways to do that is to review our citizenship laws. And if you want to know more about that, I'm not an expert. Read the book by Dr. Raptel Paley. She discusses that. That is what she did for her PhD dissertation, and this is an academic interest that she has had over decades.
I have a caller in Australia right now. Caller, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, caller, come in. What's your name? Where you calling from Australia? What's your name?
Oh, my name is Patrick Johnson, calling from Australia, the western part.
Thank you. You got a meaning. What's your contribution?
My contribution is really to first say thank you, and to welcome our brilliant and three fantastic women in studio tonight. I know the time difference, for instance, it's now 10:30 on my side here. But I just want to congratulate the current recipient. That award is a brilliant award. And for those who have received it in the past, I just want to say thanks to them. Though Volcano says it's not political, and I think it's Massa who mentioned that it's more political. I think it's, for the record sake, I mentioned in a comment that I made, I hope this award will serve as a signal warning to our national leaders. I mean, you got women being raped in Liberia, you got so many things going on, and somebody will come out somewhere to say it's a boyfriend and girlfriend thing. I hope this will be a signal warning to our national leaders that our women, we need to pride our women. Without our women, Liberia cannot stand alone. So I just want to say bravo, bravo, bravo to the three women in the studio tonight. And I want to say thank you to them. And that was a little contribution I had to say a way of International Women's Day to congratulate them and give them the power that they can strive forever to go forward.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you for calling. I have another caller from a 2180 number. Are you there? Okay, the caller hang up. All right, Massa, you wanted to contribute?
Yes. It's so interesting.
By the way, Facia is not back yet. I think she's having the same internet issue.
Yeah, she just sent a message that
I don't know that out at Celcom who one of them giving the guy hard time tonight.
She just sent a message that her internet dropped, so she says she's trying to come back home.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
it's
right. Okay,
interesting.
Massa, the caller is calling back. Let me
Okay.
just put him quick. He or she. Caller, what's you calling from?
Oh, this is Gabe Tucker calling from Dallas, Texas.
Welcome to the program. What's your contribution?
Well, I just want to take a minute to congratulate the guests on your program. I want to say they've done a hell of a job with their gallantry and their perseverance. And as it pertains to the women's rights, it's not an easy road travel. If anybody could do it, we'll all be doing it. So I want to say salute, and their hard work is bearing fruit, and they are true trailblazers, and they do us proud, and we appreciate them.
Thank you.
That's all.
Thank you. Thank you. We're encouraged by your words, and I'm sure the ladies do. So, Massa, yes, I guess the question had to do with the role of women in the advocacy for the dual citizenship.
Right. Absolutely. I served on the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, and the TRC has also proposed a recommendation on the same dual citizenship issue, but I'm not speaking here as a TRC commissioner. I'm speaking as Massa Washington, a Liberian woman and a citizen of Liberia. And it's interesting how they say like minds think similarly, almost similar to Korto's points that she made earlier. Pretty much of our constitutions, of our constitution rather, did not foresee the Liberian Civil War. So they didn't spell it anywhere, and I stand to be correct. I'm not a lawyer, but they didn't spell it anywhere out in the Constitution what will happen uh, when we have a situation like this. That is where Liberians find themselves at a crossroad where we are debating this issue of dual citizenship, and this issue came about basically occasioned by the war than anything else. And like Otto stated, I believe that every Liberian has a contribution to make towards Liberia, and our foremost focus should be the development of our country, the unity of our country. Because if we're not united as a people, we will not be able to build the kind of world-class country that we're looking for. And so when you're talking about dual citizenship, and when you have people, because the bulk of the Liberians who will be affected by this dual citizenship thing is most people who fled during the war, and some people who were here. When I say here, I mean outside Liberia in the diaspora, who they came to school. Some of them were students. Some of them came on holidays and they got stuck and couldn't go back home. And I'm sure if everybody had the opportunity to have fled Liberia during the war, they would have. And so to go back now, when we are discussing national reconciliation and unity, when we are discussing development, to go back now and sort of put this issue of the dual citizenship in the iron jacket, as the late President J.J. Rawlings would say, I think is a bit disingenuous. But I would like to see a huge debate on this. I wouldn't like to see a system where a process where just the legislature or the leaders just sit down and make a decision on this. I would like to see all Liberians in the diaspora at home deeply engaged in a deep conversation about this, maybe even a national conference, because this is a huge issue. You're talking about maybe disenfranchising a segment of a Liberian, society. And then also we want to look at the pros and cons of the dual citizenship. Okay, what does Liberia as a country stand to benefit from having its citizens, people like us who don't live in Liberia anymore, who may have other citizenship, but then who are still very much engaged in the country, who are still working and pushing for the development of the country. Some of us go home once every year. Some of us got projects we're doing in Liberia. Some of us will still advocate in Liberia. We still see ourselves as the voice of our country. So that is a conversation I think that should not be trivialized, and I don't think it should be left with the legislature. I don't think it should be left with just a group of people to just sit down and decide or something serious like that. I think it's a big conversation. It should be a big conversation. It should be a huge national conference, probably a 1 week of deliberation where we can go back and forth. And Liberians should be very honest about this thing for dual citizenship. People shouldn't think that, well, you know what, we want a dual citizenship because Liberians who are abroad, they're educated. When they come back, they're going to take our jobs. Or Liberians abroad will be thinking, say, well, you know what, we want dual citizenship because with our other citizenship, we can go over there, and we can manipulate and we can be the new lordy. We have to approach it from a sincere, um, patriotic standpoint, taking into consideration the love for Liberia first and unity of us in building our country. We should be, for once, we should try and put aside our own self or the tendency to one self-aggrandizement. We have to put Liberia first because the dual citizenship thing has a huge implication for the future of Liberia and for our children. We have children that we are having outside of Liberia. Okay, some of the same people who are sitting in Liberia and talking about the dual citizenship, they don't want a dual citizenship. They have all of them got their kids here attending school.
Well, some of them are already citizens, and they're
Yes,
playing.
some of them are already citizens. And then on the other side as well, people here who have dual citizenship, they think that they can go with their dual citizenship, and then with the benefits that come with it, they think they can go over there and and bamboozle their way and be the new lords of the land. So the two group of Liberians we need to get to that middle point. Liberia will have to be the most important thing. The growth of Liberia will have to be the most important thing to all of us.
Thank you, Massa.
This conversation.
We're at the finish line here. Facia got back. She fought her way. That's a woman of courage. She did extremely well to get back. So let me bring her in as we wrap up. I'm gonna give you guys 2 minutes each. Just tell us what the International Women's Day mean to you and for the women of Liberia. Each person go around the room so we can wrap this up. I know Korto got to go back to bed if it's already not day yet, and Facia too. So thank you so much, Facia, for fighting to come back at the closing. So let's start with you because your internet keep acting up, so we don't lose you again. Wait a minute. One caller is calling. He let me just take this last caller. Let him come in, and then we can wrap it up. Caller, are you there? Where you calling from? What's your name?
Yes, good afternoon, Shelton. This is Steve Bole with the pseudonym Moses.
Oh, welcome to the program, Steve. How you doing?
I'm very well, thank you,
You're
sir.
out there
I appreciate
in
it.
the beautiful Arizona, right?
Yes, and the weather is getting hot now. I feel like I'm in Liberia or I'm in some part of Western Africa there. That's how I feel right now.
Wow, that's good. I envy you. We're still dealing with a cold. But anyway, welcome. You've been following the program. You're one of the advocates for Liberian women. What's your contribution tonight?
Well, first of all, I want to say what a great day to be alive to celebrate our mothers, our sisters, wives, daughters, and nieces. I'm very excited to. Liberian women are the most beautiful women on earth, and that's what I believe. So I think this is a beautiful day to celebrate the Liberian women and to celebrate women at large all around the world. I want to say congratulations to my sister in there who got an award, but also want to recognize my auntie there. I want to recognize her in studio. I want to say thanks for all the work you guys have done over the years. Thank you so much, and thanks for inspiring the young people, whether they're men or women. Thank you so much. Your stories will live on, your accounts will live on. Thanks for your contributions to our country, Liberia, and to the world at large. I just have a quick question for the panel there. My question has to do with the issues in Liberia, especially when it comes to, rape and, just the victimization after the war. In their quest, whether it's journalism, whether it's advocacy, in their quest
what do they think and what would they advise going forward um, for young women who would like to venture into politics or into their field of work, what to do? What would be their advice so that they can feel safe, so that they can feel supported, they can feel accommodated, and they can feel empowered to do their best? Thank you so much, and I look forward to continuing following the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Just before I come to you, I got another caller on the line. Caller from a 3211. Caller, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, my brother.
Good
How
evening.
are
What's your
you?
name? Where you calling from?
Good evening, my brother. My name is Reverend Sandra Johnson from the state of Pennsylvania. How are you?
Welcome, welcome. Let's wrap this up. You will be our last caller so we can go to our panel. What's your
Oh,
contribution?
thank you so much, my brother. Today I give all a salute to all the women of the world. I salute them as our mothers, our sisters, and our daughters. I always say this in my church. So, woman, the moment they say you are a woman, you are a mother. So I salute them. But I just have one appeal. I'm pleading, I'm begging, and I'm praying that our mothers will give everything unto the Lord, as the Bible says in the First Peter 3:1. That when they give God their heart, their mind, their soul, they become the bits that God can use. As the man see a woman, he go crazy like a fish in the water that been crazy for years. When they see the bait, they go after that bait. But then what in the bait? This bait must have a hook that will grab the fish. Men going after women all over the world. A bunch of our mothers, our sisters, and our daughters have no bait, they don't have no hook in them. That hook is the Spirit of God. If you have the hook in you, any man you make an attempt to open your door for, that man will get stuck by that hook. So I'm appealing to all our mothers, our sisters, and our daughters. Give all to God today, then God can put that hook in you. When the man come after you, he will never leave. Because it's not because how beautiful you look, how pretty you look, what, but that hook in you, God will hook that man. He'll have no room to escape. And the fish don't want to escape. So let our mothers, our sisters, and our daughters do that on a big day. Thank you, my brother, and God bless all of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Johnson. All right, ladies. So the caller before him was asking about how you can, what message you have for young women who want to aspire into what you do, whether it be in advocacy, journalism, feminism, anything. So, Facia, I know you've been having trouble with us tonight with the internet. So, we'll come to you quick. Let's do a 1 minute, one and a half minute, and then we'll go to Korto, and then we'll go to Massa and wrap this up.
Thank you. Well, my advice to young people is to be deliberate about the change that we need in order to creating a fair, a sustainable, and just society. And the fact that we do recognize the systematic barriers, Cisco book put it right, the checkpoints. There are present day checkpoints in every aspect of our lives and how we navigate the system. We need to be able to recognize those barriers, those systematic barriers, and be cautious ourselves to be deliberate about our actions, to be deliberate about standing up for justice, standing up for equality, because the thing is, no one is free from all the different types of discrimination. Women, no one woman can say, I am in a safe space at no time in my life or my experiences, be it professional, family, or whatever. These discriminations, abuses are not going to be directed at me. So you cannot say that you far above it. So if you're listening, you aspiring, continue to be aspire to be who you want to be, and just be deliberate and to not be or do not position yourself to, where you allow yourself to perpetrate some of the same things that we stand against, those same barriers or those same practices that prevent women from excelling, from living their full potential and experiencing, enjoying their rights. So that would be my advice generally to women, that the society is a man's word, but for many years now, we continue to say that it cannot continue to be a man's word. We recognize the power in differences, and we want to continue to work to be able to have a just and equal society for
Thank you,
everyone.
thank you, thank you. Facia, thank you so much. I'll let you go now. You made a tremendous sacrifice to be here with us tonight to discuss International Women's Day, and I think that our audience learned a lot from your contribution to the program, to womenhood in Liberia, to the work you do, and to being recognized for being a recipient for the of Coverage Award. So I say thank you for being here tonight. So we'll take leave of you. Catch your last 2 or 3 hours before day breaks. So thank you so much. We hope that we can reach out to you again, and at some point you will come back on the program. Thank you so much. Let's go now to Korto Reeves. I know you're very tired, and let's hear what you have to say in a minute and a half before we take leave of you.
Well, yeah, so I want to say two things. One is that International Women's Day is significant. And I know that, people are celebrating and all of that. I just want to give a bit of history, that the International Women's Day is, the origin of that is within the women's movement, so the workers' movement, the women's labor movement to be exact. And this is where women were advocating for the right to work, equal pay, and recognition within the economic systems that provide that. So that's one. But there was also the fight around suffrage, so the right to vote was a big part of the origin of the International Women's Day, the history of International Women's Day. So it was a social, economic, and political struggle by women to ensure that they were realizing the rights across, first labor, suffrage, and other, areas of life, like I said, social and political. So it's important to state that, because I still want to challenge that idea that the conversation we're having here tonight is not political. It is political. The fight for women's rights is.
When I mentioned political, they like the judge. We are the CDC.
Oh, yeah, it is political, because to talk about rights is politics. It's not partisan politics, but it's politics. Because the reason we don't have our rights is around the way that power is distributed. So when people talk about rape, and the sort of imbalance around representation, all of those things, have to do with politics. So I just want to highlight that. I'm not sure what the second question is. Okay, so if there are young women who want to, follow our footsteps, what is it that would advise? I think my position on that is that women need to understand the power dynamics. We need to understand the reality of our societies and organize ourselves to change that, to challenge that, and not accept it as normal. So first, you have to understand that if you're fighting to go into the legislature, that this is a male-dominated, murky space that you may not be able to navigate because of the way that it's organized. So you could be a senator for 9 years and you may not be able to make any change that's related to women's rights, in Liberia, because of the way that the legislature is organized. So we need to think about feminist alternatives to how we influence the development of Liberia. And I think that's something that young women would do well to first recognize and say, how do I contribute to that? However, for me, my advocacy, and it's linked to the book, is really about the politics of memory and memorialization. I believe that Liberia is not going to go forward in a way that represents all of its people and benefit all of its people if we ignore the fact that the war affected our country. 250,000 people died. Before that, we had other, uprisings that affected people in terms of their bodies, their lives, and all of that. I feel like if we don't remember that, if we don't organize in a formal way and remember that, or we don't have programs that will look at rehabilitation and reconciliation, we may most likely just be building a house and developing a country that is on a sandy foundation. So I really believe that one of the main, advocacies, the type of advocacies that we should, promote in our country at the moment, especially as young people, is around reconciliation. What is it that has hurt people in such a way that they are very reluctant to get involved in nation building? What is it that makes someone believe that I can see a baby who's 9 months old and rape that child? What is it that makes us to treat human rights as a very trivial thing, as if it belongs to just one group of people? I think it's really about that experience that we've gone through as Liberians, that the pain and the losses and all of the different atrocities that we fail to acknowledge. And I say, and this is my last point, is how can we as Liberians, we know that there were checkpoints. How can we know that people died at those checkpoints? Whether it's from the Lutheran Church all the way to Bon County, the massacres of Magibi. How can we drive across, those areas every day and know that there are skeletons within the bushes? There are skeletons because innocent people just died either because of their ethnicity, their work in government, and we just move along as if it is normal. It is not normal. So those are some of the things that we need to talk about and we need to address before we can start to say, okay, now we can start to furnish our house that is called Liberia. You cannot have a sandy foundation in something. And I'm not saying that this cannot happen in parallel with other governance processes, but I'm saying that we cannot erase that. It's too big, it's too significant to erase. So I want to say thank you, for having me. And I believe that the purpose, at least for me as a professional and as a feminist activist, is about acknowledging the pain that we have in our society and how it affects our development.
Thank you, Korto. Korto Reeves is the author of Inappropriate Medley, can be found on Amazon. Go there, check the book out, get a copy.
For those in Liberia, there are hard copies. There are hard copies in Liberia. And I have a Facebook page, so I can put some information there. You can buy copies in Liberia.
All right. So for those of you in Liberia, there are copies, hard copies there. For those of you here in the diaspora, you can get it on Amazon at a very reasonable price. Try to support the lady's work and encourage her to do more. Again, Korto, thanks so much for being in company with us. I know you're very tired. I can see from where you are. And go and catch your last 2 hours of sleep before day breaks, because it's another day. Thank you again. We look forward to having you back here on Bridge Radio Africa. Hopefully we treated you well to come back. Okay, in the future.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Volcano and Massa.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Korto. Okay.
Yeah. All right, Massa. I guess it's just me and you now. We're wrapping up between now to 10 o'clock. They can talk, so and plus you can talk too. So I don't know. I was outnumbered tonight, but yeah. So what do you think you will say here tonight, um, from the previous caller, Steve Bowler, who talked about what your message would be for young women who want to aspire into, the limelight of, women activism, women politics, women feminism, women humanism, all of those things. Um, let's just try to wrap this up.
Right. So I will actually advise young women from my own personal experience. When I was trying to be somebody, when I was trying to um, learn the society, trying to understand myself, and trying to find that thing that I could do that would be impactful to the society, I looked around me for role models. I looked at what other women who were older than me were doing, and whether what they were doing interested me, and whether what they were doing had consequences for possible positive impact for Liberia. So I found role models. I had several role models. Um, you know, Women who were older than me who were doing great things. I admired them. I wanted to be like them. I humbled myself. I worked with them most of the time. They would send me on errands, errands to do stuff for them. But I learned from them, and in so doing, I was able to develop some skills. I was able to borrow some quality attributes from them that helped to propel me when it was my time to do some great things. And so young women should look around for role models, because role models are there. This tendency of some of us to, we think we know it all, we disrespect other people who were there before us. We don't appreciate what other people have done. Basically, people complain all the time that Liberians are unappreciative of people who have come before them. We need to change that culture. We need to appreciate people. We need to identify our role models, and align ourselves, and work with them. And then also, what does International Women's Day mean? It's come a long way from historically when it was created from the labor union and all of that to what we have today. But I think today, um, in addition to all of those other things, International Women's Day is actually a validation day for women around the world. It's a day, I think, that remind people of how far women have come and what a fantastic job women around the world have been doing, and hopefully we will continue to do. So it's good that we have International Women's Day, and it's good that we can pause, that the entire world can pause and take a bow and recognize the world who have worked so hard, who making valuable contribution to our societies, to our families, to our individual countries, and to the world as a whole.
Thank you, Massa Washington. Massa, you made all of this come together. Your stick to itiveness, I highly appreciate you for getting Facia and Korto. I know it was something I was worried about considering the time difference, but at least they made a sacrifice to be here, and I think it was a wonderful discussions. We've had a lot of good reviews tonight on the platform, folks commenting. So again, thank you. Now I'm going to put you right out there. People are asking when you're coming back to wrap up this Truth and Reconciliation Commission recommendations. When you're coming back?
Oh, let's discuss about
Okay. All
the
right, folks.
camera.
She's backing down, but
We'll just
yeah,
no. I
on
will come back.
Wednesday,
I will come back,
on
but we'll
Wednesday,
discuss
Massa
about
will
the
be
camera.
here again. We have another great show with another Liberian woman. But I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag. She will be coming in on Wednesday. Massa will be back here with me in studios again. Massa, thanks for your professional contribution to Bridge Radio Africa, Bridge uh, TV as well. Bridge Radio Africa, Bridge TV Africa. We're here on Facebook and YouTube, and I will let you go now. as I close up, and we'll talk, later on. So thank you so much. I appreciate the effort you put into making this successful tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Volcano. It's always a pleasure working with you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you all for being there with us tonight. It was a wonderful discussion. We've been celebrating International Women's Day. We had um, three wonderful women: Facia Harris, Bonina Harris. She's been recognized for the Women's of Courage Award, something put together by the U.S. State Department 2021, representing Liberia. Uh, Korto Reeves, who is based in Nairobi, Kenya, a Liberian author. She just authored a book called Inappropriate Medley, and that book is found on Amazon if you're in the diaspora, and it's also in Liberia in hard copy. And Massa Washington, also a former Liberian journalist or a Liberian journalist, because that former title don't work with us. We can be in all our professional new career path. Once you say, "Oh my man, I want to do something," we're ready to grab the mic and the pen or the recorder to put it to your mouth. So Massa is a Liberian journalist, but a former commissioner on the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. So it was a wonderful discussion. We want to thank Live FM in Liberia 104.1, Joy FM 101.5, and Top FM 105.3 for continuing to carry our broadcast. We appreciate your contribution to spreading the word. Again, we said that British Radio Africa is here to enlighten. We speak about the ills in society, whether it's coming from political figures, the president, the vice president, whoever it is, politicians, whatever. But also, you forget to know that the common man, the one we call the civil servants, they themselves can cause problem and corruption at the front gate. Like the other night, Friday, we talked about some of the things that are trending in Liberia regarding those people who are representing us at the front line, meaning our civil servants. They're the ones that perpetrating corruption at the peak. And so these are the things we speak about, because we can't continue to operate like this, and we want to improve our country. We want to be that nation that was once respected, that nation that was once considered a place where everyone wanted to go. You remember those days when many people left many of the countries in the sub-region just to go to Liberia to shop, a small America in Africa, or to get visa. But today we can't even get a straight flight to go to Liberia. When I remember, I was a very young man, but from smell no taste to America, there were folks who were leaving from smell no taste. I'm telling you true story. On a Friday evening, get to the US on Friday, stay all day Saturday, shop, do all this stuff. Sunday they're on the plane. By Sunday, almost mid morning into Monday, they're back in Liberia and they head into work. Where are those good old days? Pan American. Who remember that flight? The British Caledonia. Those were the days, and we can rekindle those days. We can get them back. We can get them back, but we need to encourage all of us from the diaspora, people like us who know the history, who've been there, who've seen some things. Not that we're old, but we researched well. We know what Liberia used to look like. I remember back in the day. Who remember Roxy upstairs? When you want to chill, you go to Roxy upstairs. You just chill. You got the pool bowl in Monte Carlo. All those good things. Nothing going on in the country, but people just run around and do muya muya, zekwe zekwe, muya muya, zekwe zekwe. Every day that the nonsense they do. What's going on? We need to come back to our senses. And I think we can do it because we are a proud people. But again, that caller who talked about the dual citizenship, it helps to bring the country back to its good old days. Because of a lot of us here in the diaspora, and not to say me, but me in particular, but every one of us here in the diaspora are making tremendous degree of contributions to Liberia. With all our remittances, with all our projects, with all the things that we do in Liberia, I don't know where Liberia would have been, So we cannot be ostracized at this time. We need to be encouraged to come home, like Ghana did. Look at Ghana today. I was watching a documentary on Ghana. Ghana has 10 mega projects that should be done within the next 3 or 4 years. And Black Americans are returning to Ghana by the numbers, buying homes and resettling. Stevie Wonder, the musician, just went to Ghana. He moved to Ghana. There are a lot of notable Black Americans who are moving. Oprah Winfrey knows she from Liberia. She Pele, but she stayed. There's only us. She says she's South African. The genealogist said that Oprah Winfrey is a Liberian, and you can look at a woman and tell she Pele. You can just look at her complexion. But we're not doing the things we need to do as a country to encourage these people. How can we have one of the longest territorial waters on the sub-region? 350 miles of ocean waters, untapped beaches. Untapped beaches. And we're sitting around here pretending like we don't know what we have. But because we printing money, we can steal it, put it in the house. We mopping up, talking about $25 million. Now we're talking about reprinting to stimulate. How can you continue to reprint money to stimulate the economy when you're not exporting? You have all these great resources, from iron ore to diamond to gold and all these things. You're not doing anything to industrialize the country. I just spoke with somebody in Liberia tonight. They said no current. Since Mr. Weah put street lights on, current goes every day. So now they turn the street light on in the night, all the community. Every day there's a roadblock because of electricity. What are we doing? What's going on with us? Why? We can do more than that. My people, this is we can't continue to be a laughing stock. I keep saying this, and this is not pointing finger. This is not talking about, oh, Mr. Weah or Mr. CDC or this person or that person. This is a national issue. It's about the country. It's about all of us. All of us. And every day you and I dream about what Liberia will be. But if we don't take the steps, the necessary steps, we don't make the necessary adjustment, and we just wake up every day and do the same thing over and over, where are we going? We can't go anywhere with this kind of behavior, you know? So my people, in the Liberian way, I beg you, we need to work together to improve our country. The countries in the sub-region are leaving us way behind. If we said that we were the ones that brought this continent to independence, I guess we need to go back to colonialism to get independence again, because we're not doing what we're supposed to do with the independence we have, and we need to work. The country is congested. Monrovia is a slum. Monrovia has nothing to show. You leave in the airport in the night, especially with this coronavirus testing. By the time you leave the airport at 2 o'clock in the morning, you're driving on a dark highway, jet black dark highway. It is absolutely risky. It's dangerous. We got to do something about this. And we'll continue to talk without cursing nobody. I've never used a vocal word here. I would never. It's not in my character. I'm not even stupid to do it, because it doesn't speak of my integrity and my intelligence. But we'll continue to talk about it. And when you say you were able to do it, you say you wanted it, they gave it to you, you got to do something. So we'll not stop talking. We'll not stop talking. So again, I want to thank you all for being there tonight. I thought to just throw that in because, man, International Women's Day, and look at these wonderful women we had here in studio with us tonight. Look at the degree of intelligence these women have, and they're not even contributing that kind of palpable intelligence back to the economy, to the country. Yes, and we're all in the diaspora, working to make other countries greater than us when we can be home, contributing to our country. But we have a few people who just pretend like they're working and they're not doing nothing. They wake up in the morning and they just go driving and they say they're going to work. All they do is just look for the little small corruption in the office area, and that's it. And that's all they're doing. The country is going nowhere. And it's not because of weird time. Even Ellington, the things that Ellen was supposed to do for Liberia, she didn't do. I don't think even we is able to do it. Ellen should have done way more for Liberia than we are, But look at where we are. 12 years of joke. You understand me? They say the post systems in place. Where are the systems? We still don't have street lights. We still don't have electricity. We still don't have good pipe bomb running water. We still struggling. Government can't pay the employees and all of that. And you say you put system in place. Now you got President Weah come. He inherited this other issue, and he is just struggling because he got some people misfitted. some of the wrong people who just there because it's our time to eat. But I'll just let it end here tonight. Thank you all for being there. This is Volcano Shelton on Ashford Garley Live here on Bridge Radio Africa. We'll be back Wednesday with another edition. Massa will be here with me with a very wonderful guest. Again, I want to thank you. Ashford will be back. Don't worry about it. He's doing great. He will be back soon. Thank you all. I love you. Good night and have a good, wonderful night.